probably here for the first time, my name is Adoma, and you probably already know from the title what this is about. You guys already know what we do here, but if you don't, we talk about family, lifestyle. Sometimes I might interject some things, just motherhood, tips, tricks, advice, all of that good stuff. Okay. So yes, as you already know, you guys, I'm a mom. I have a son, so every now and then I try to do these things when he's out, when he's asleep, but he's awake, so he's going to be right here. So please, if you hear any like noise in the background, please pardon me. My son is right here. Anyway, so yeah, you guys already know from the title what this might be about, but let's get right into this video. This is a safe space. I hope that's my I hope so for anyone who's watching this. Ooh. Is it comfortable, cozy, comfortable? All right, so let's take it back, or let's rewind to 2002. So 2002, I had an accident. It was a car accident, but the car accident that changed my life basically. Yeah, like I was hit by a car, not just me, like myself and my siblings. We were hit by a car. It was a very drastic accident. It was bad. It was really bad. It was horrible. Of course, no one wants such a thing. No one expects or wants something like that to happen to them, but it did. So we got into a car accident. We got hit by a car. The car ran over both of my legs, and I ended up in the hospital. I was in the hospital for maybe like a little over a month. So I was in the hospital. I had to get surgery, and the surgery I got was a skin graft. So basically, the skin graft is that they take a piece of skin from like a different part of your body to close up the area. So I got hit by the car. The car ran over both of my legs, and so thankfully, like I think the greatest thing was that there were no broken bones, but it ran over my legs. So with the skin graft, they had to from my thigh. So 2002. So you can imagine I was quite young then, but that whole thing really bothered me for a very long time, like always looking at my scars and just feeling like I wasn't beautiful anymore. I mean, I was a young girl, but it wasn't until it wasn't until I moved to Canada that I really started to feel the impact of that. First of all, because my first experience in school here was not the greatest. It wasn't the best. I was actually bullied. I was bullied like when I first in my first school experience here. I got bullied by some guys, some boys, and because I looked like a boy. You know, when I was a very late bloomer, so at that point I had short hair, really short hair, and so I looked like a boy, and so I was made fun of. I was bullied, not extensively, but like just that one experience of bullying really had an impact on me. And also considering the fact that I had acne as a teenager, as a young person, you know, well into my 20s, I had acne, and for me it really bothered me, and my self-esteem started to drop. Not only was I worried about my legs, my scar, I would always like try to hide my legs. I wasn't always comfortable in a bikini. Like I don't even know if I've really worn a bikini. Have I worn a bikini before? I don't know, but I wasn't too comfortable in my skin. I wasn't too comfortable in myself. It was bad. I don't know, I used to have a lot of self-esteem issues like growing up here. Um, yeah, for those of you who don't know, I live in Canada. So moving from Nigeria to Canada, that first experience was um, was horrible. It wasn't the best way to really be introduced to a new country. To be honest, as a young person, then I'm still young. Anyway, yeah, that experience was not the best. Being bullied, I was going through a lot of like self-esteem issues, body image issues. Um, yeah, a lot of body image issues, and it just I always felt like I wasn't beautiful. I always felt this whole thing that maybe I would not get married. But here we are today. I'm married, I have a child. How the tables have turned. But anyway, I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself. Like I have potential, and because of me always being in my head, getting these things in my head, it diminished a lot of those potentials that I had. It diminished a lot of those things that I had. Like I would consider myself a smart person, a smart girl, but because I was always kind of getting this whole insecurity thing in my head, I was very insecure, very I wasn't too confident in my abilities, in myself, and so a lot of those things were diminished. My light was basically diminished. Okay, if you get what I mean. Anyway, yeah, I remember talking to a counselor. I sat down, I had like this whole conversation with the counselor about how I feel. By the way, if you're African, if you're black, you just know that these things are not things that you talk about in an African home. In the black community, it's very like your feelings are always diminished. Like it's literally always like your feelings are not valid almost, in the sense that like if you ever say, oh, I'm depressed, or oh, I'm going through this, or oh, this is how I feel, it's always, for those of us who are very Christian, it's always that whole idea of, oh, you can pray over it, pray about it, and it will disappear. Of course I can pray, and I believe in the power of prayer, but sometimes that's not how these things work. Sometimes that's not how these things just end up disappearing or going away. These feelings are real. These things are legitimately real, and only if you experience it would you know what it's like. And you can't sit here, or you can't come to me right now and tell me that depression doesn't exist. It does exist. Whether it's like severe depression, whether it's like mild, whether it's like postpartum depression, whatever, these feelings are real and valid. They are legit. Like people actually go through this stuff. I hate when we feel like we need to kind of like diminish people's feelings, or feel like, or make people feel like their feelings are not valid, or like what they're going through isn't valid, or it's not okay. For it's okay to feel that way, because, and that's why some people die in silence. And you can't sit here, or you can't come to me right now and tell me that depression doesn't exist. It does exist. Whether it's like severe depression, whether it's like mild, whether it's like postpartum depression, whatever, these feelings are real and valid. They are legit. Like people actually go through this stuff. I'm the kind of person that I don't always voice out my feelings. To be honest, I don't voice out my feelings, and it's a bad thing sometimes, because I always want to, but somehow, somewhere deep down inside, I always feel like I'm being judged. I always feel like I'm being judged, and that's just where all these things come into play. My insecurities, my depression, and all that. I did go through a period of like depression, like legit feeling very low, very down. I used to feel very low, very down, and like I said, all of these things, self-esteem, insecurities about myself, really made me feel bad about myself. Overall, I'm the kind of person that I would like to deal with my stuff silently first, deal with it, try to figure out how I can get through with something. before I actually start talking about it. So my feelings are not really things I talked about, I'm slowly growing, especially since I became a mother. Like, I want my kids, my children, to look at me and see strength in me. I don't want my kids to look at me and always see this. I don't know if I should say that I don't want them to see my vulnerable side, but I just feel like I want my kids to see me as, I always want to say I want to be a cool mom, but at the same time I want my kids to see confidence and strength in me. You get what I mean? And I want my kids to be open enough to talk to me about how they're feeling, and I want to have open conversations with my kids, which is something that for most of us growing up, our parents didn't give us that opportunity to do. Our parents shied away from, or I wouldn't say shy away, but they never really had like open conversations, or just there were conversations that were just kind of shoved under the rug, and just never had those conversations because it almost seemed like they were non-existent. But I want my kids to be open about how they're feeling, open about what they're going through, right? I ended up going to a counselor. I ended up actually speaking to a counselor myself because I was just overwhelmed. There was just a lot. I ended up going to a counselor myself, which many of us don't do. Anyway, so I did speak to a counselor, and at that point, I don't know if it was even a diagnosis or anything, but she, from the way I spoke to her and everything I said and our conversation and all that, she basically was like, you're going through depression. And it's not like severe depression, but this is what we'll call mild depression. She asked me a bunch of questions, and I was like, okay. When I hear stories of people, or when I hear the news or stories of people who have it all good in life, or who have established something, or who are doing well, and then all of a sudden, boom, you hear that they committed suicide, or they did something, and then the reason for that is depression. It makes me sad. Like, it makes me really, really sad. Like, deep down inside, I just feel like, whoa. Like, whoa, like, God, I'm getting emotional now. Because some people, like, we've had stories of people, like, Kate Spade, former Miss America, I don't remember her name, but the latest one that we had, former Miss USA, right? And it's like, these are people that you think that they have their lives put together. They have money, they probably have, you feel like they have nothing to worry about, but it's not even about that. Like, these feelings are things that you can't even shake off. Like, you can't shake it off. Like, you just can't. And so when people tell you that this is what they're going through, when people tell you that this is what they're dealing with, believe them because it is real. Anyway, I think I'm going to stop this video here because I'm getting emotional now. I want to end this video by saying that I've grown over the years. I've legitimately really learned how to deal with my feelings. I'm growing, I'm still growing, I'm still learning. Depression may or may be a medical condition. Sometimes diagnosis may involve more medical intervention. Sometimes it may not. Like, when I was told that I had mild depression, there was no like medical intervention or anything. It was just counseling, and I was encouraged to seek out more counseling if I needed to. Would I do that? Definitely. It's something even though right now I'm feeling a lot better about myself, but would I ultimately seek out therapy? that is a consideration.